Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Tondile from Q's Beyond Fashion. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a circle skirt. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for stopping by. If you are new to the family, please consider subscribing and hitting on the notifications bell just to make sure that you never miss any of our future sewing lessons. And also remember to share your circle skirts once you have attempted it on our Facebook sewing group. I will be very delighted to see what you guys have made. Without wasting any more time, let's start making the circle skirt. In order to be able to make the circle skirt, we are going to need the waist circumference, the length of the skirt from the waist. Let us take these two measurements. The waist circumference, we are going to take it around the smallest part of your stomach. As you can see, my stomach goes a bit inwards right here, so that is the position of my waist. My waist is 35 inches. Next, we are going to measure the length of the skirt from the waist. In my case, it will be from the waist to my knee. And then I can just stand in front of the mirror like this and then take the measurement. And in my case, it is 24 inches. This is my drafted version of a circle skirt. This is the circular waist at the top, and this is the length of the skirt from the waist. And then at the bottom, this is the circular bottom, and these are the gathers for the circle skirt. As you can see, our waist is circular as I've demonstrated on this sheet of paper. Therefore, we are supposed to find the distance from the center of the circle to the side of the circle, and that distance is called the radius. Now, the radius, which is r, we are going to calculate it by saying the waist, which is the waist circumference, we are going to divide it by 6.28. In my case, my waist circumference is 35, and if I divide it by 6.28, the answer is going to be 5.57. Next, we have another measurement, which is the length of the skirt from the waist. In my case, the waist to the end of the skirt is 24 inches. Now we are going to calculate a total length, whereby we are going to add these two measurements. We are going to add r to the length of the skirt. And in my case, the radius was 5.57, and then we add 24 to that, we are going to get 29 inches. And this 29 inches, we are going to call it the total length. Let us demonstrate how we are going to cut the fabric. In my case, remember the total length was 29 inches, but I'm just going to round up the 29 inches to 30 because I'm supposed to leave a sewing allowance for the waist and also a sewing allowance for hemming the skirt. I'm going to multiply the 30 by 2, and that will give me 60 inches. And then I'm going to cut a square which is 60 inches by 60 inches of fabric. Sometimes you may find that some other fabrics, the width is short. Therefore, it will not be able to give you the 60 inches. In that case, here's another demonstration of how you can do it. You are going to cut a rectangle that is going to have a length of 60 inches, and then the width you can shorten it to 30 inches. It means you are going to cut two rectangles that are going to be 60 by 30 inches each. Let us put this aside. To cut the fabric, you are going to fold the square into two like this, and that will give you the 60 by 30 rectangle. Next, you are also going to fold again for the second time, and this is going to give you a square that is going to be 30 by 30 inches. Now we are going to come to this corner, and then you are going to start measuring the radius that we have calculated earlier. In my case, the radius was 5.57. We are going to measure 5.57 from this corner right around in a circular manner like that. Next, you are then going to measure the total length, which we said it was 29 inches in my case. But because we are supposed to leave the hemming allowance and the sewing allowance for the top, we are then going to make it 30 inches. Now let's assume that the 30 inches will start from this corner, and then I will start measuring the 30 inches, measure it, and make dots up to the other side. After making these dots, you are supposed to get a pair of scissors and then start by cutting around the waist. Cut around the dots that we have made earlier like this, and then you are going to start cutting at the bottom, which is the length of the skirt. Next, you are going to open up the circle, and this is what you are going to get. This is our waist, and this is the hem of our skirt. It is called a circle because, as you can see, when you spread it on the ground, it is a circle. We are going to fold our fabric back into half like this. Usually, a circle skirt has pockets along the side. That means we are going to cut open the sides of the skirt, and the top part is going to be the front, and then the bottom part is going to be the back. So, you are going to cut off the sides like this. This will be the front of the skirt, and this will be the back of the skirt. At the back, we are supposed to insert a zipper. Let's assume that the zipper will be this long. We make a mark like that. And then because we are supposed to insert a zipper, then it means we are going to fold again the back of the skirt and then cut the center back from the bottom to the top like that. And then these are the two pieces that we are going to have for the back, and then this other piece will be for the front. Let me show you how we are going to deal with these two rectangles if these are the pieces that you manage to cut out of your fabric. You are going to start with one piece of rectangle that is 60 by 30 inches. You are just going to fold it into two, and then you come to this corner, and again you are going to start measuring the radius. I will start measuring from this corner and measure the 5.7 and make marks like this all around to the other side. Next, you are going to measure the total length. Now we are going to measure the 13, which means it's going to start from this corner. You measure around, make some dots, make some marks all around. Next, you are going to get your pair of scissors and start by cutting around the radius of the skirt, which is the waist. And then lastly, you are going to cut the bottom of the skirt like that. And then you are going to open up the skirt, and you can notice that it is half a circle.
To take the other piece of fabric, which is 60 by 30, you're going to do the same thing to it. Fold it over to it. You're going to measure the radius from the top like that, and then measure the bottom, which is the total length. From that corner, you make some marks up until the other corner like that. You're also going to get a pair of scissors and cut around the radius first, and then lastly around the bottom of the skirt. This is how your skirt is going to look, and this part will be your front and this part will be your back. Again, as we did last time, take your back, make a mark along the center back, which is going to be the end of your zipper, and then next you're going to fold your back into two, and then also cut the center back from the bottom to the top.
And these pieces will form your circle skirt. Here is the fabric. This is a square shape, and my square is 30 by 30 inches. My fabric was long enough to be that 60 by 60 that I showed you guys, and now I folded it into four, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we are going to start measuring from this corner. We are going to measure 5.57 inches like this. We measure it like this, we make a mark, and then we hold, remove the tape measure, make another mark, and then rotate the tape measure, making sure that it is still along the edge. Make another mark and keep rotating the tape measure like that. So these are the marks at the top that we are going to cut off along the waistline. Next, we are then going to measure from this corner down around, as I showed you earlier, and this time we are measuring 29 inches. So here is our 29 inches right here. We are going to make a mark and then come back to the top. Make sure we hold down the tape measure and move it around. Make a mark and then move it around again. Make another mark and then move it around again. Make a mark. Repeat the process. Make another mark and again repeat the process until you get to the end. You can then use your hand to join the points like this to make sure that they are straight and circular, like this, to the end. Now I'm going to get my scissor and cut along the waist. This is our waist, and then we are going to do the same at the bottom and cut around the section that we've drawn also. This is our center sketch. We have cut it, and we can then open it as I showed you on paper demonstration. We can open it like this. It is half the circle, and we can further open it from this side to make it one full circle. On the side, we are going to cut open and have some seams. These seams are the ones that we are going to use to insert our pockets. So we are going to cut from the top, which is from the waist, right down to the bottom. We are also going to do the same on the other side. Now that we have cut the skirt into two, we are going to remove the front, but we are going to put it aside. We are going to fold the back like this, and then next get a pair of scissors and cut it at the center back like this. So these are the two pieces for the back. We are going to lay down the fabric like this, making sure that the correct side of the fabric is facing upwards like this, and then take the other side of the back and make sure that the correct sides of the fabric are facing each other like this. We are going to measure about 7 inches from the waist down and then make a mark. This is where our zipper is going to start. Next, we are going to secure these two pieces together using some pins. The center back, we have secured it using some pins, and then we can now open it up like this. Remember, we said we want pockets along the side. And now what we are going to do, we are going to put aside these two pieces of the skirt, and then we are going to take the salvaged pieces of the fabric, them like this, and then use a free hand, just place it like this. We are now making the pockets for the skirt. We just draw around the free hand like this. Draw around the hand, even at the top. Keep doing the same until you get to the end of the fabric. And then remember, we've got 4 pieces because the skirt was folded into 4. For the pockets, we also require that it has 4 pieces. You can take your chalk and then mark a sewing allowance of 0.5 of an inch all around the pocket. Then we are going to get our pair of scissors and cut around the pocket as I'm doing now. But before cutting, please make sure that you secure the fabric so that they do not move by putting on top maybe a heavy object. In my case, I'm just using my phone, and then I cut around like this. Now, these are the 4 pieces for our pocket. 2 pieces are going to make one pocket, and the other 2 pieces are going to make another pocket. Before we can start sewing together all the pieces of the skirt, remember along the waistline, we are going to need a waistband. Usually a circle skirt is beautiful if it has a waistband of 2 inches. So in our case, because we are going to fold the waistband into 2 like this, it means whatever that we measure here is supposed to be twice the width of our waistband. That means we are going to measure 5 inches for the width of our waistband. Next, we get a pair of scissors and cut our waistband. This is our waistband. I'm just going to cut a length of 40 inches. Then we are going to trim it later after we have attached it to the waist of the skirt. This is our waistband. Now the waistband should have an interfacing. As you put the interfacing on top of the fabric, please ensure that the side of the interfacing that is rough, the one with the glue, is facing the fabric, so that when you iron it using the steam iron, it will be secured by the glue onto the fabric. Now I'm going to take it to the iron to iron it onto the fabric. We iron it like this with a steam iron. Because in my case, my interfacing is light, I had to put it on both sides of the folded waistband. This is our waistband. It is ready to be sewn onto our skirt. We are going to put it aside for later use And then we are going to take the front of the skirt along the side seam. We are going to measure 3 inches from the waist like this, and then make a mark. Move to the other side of the waist. Measure the 3 inch from the waist downwards as I'm doing now, and then also do the same thing on the back of our skirt and on the other side of our side seam. We do the same. We are going to use these marks for attaching our pockets. We are going to take one piece of your pocket. Let it start from the mark that you have made earlier, and then you are going to secure it using some pins like this. And then move to the other side of the bag. Make sure that you get the correct pocket. Ensure that the correct sides of the fabric are facing each other. And then you place the pocket. Let it start from the marked 3 inch, like so. Next, you put the back aside, get the front, and also do the same, like that. Now we are going to take the skirt to the sewing machine, and we are going to sew and attach the pockets using a seam allowance of 0.25 of an inch on the front and also on the back. We are going to start by sewing together the center back. We are going to start sewing from the mark that we made, which was the beginning of our zipper. Remember, now we are sewing the center back, which means the sewing allowance is going to be 0.5 of an inch. We just attach the pockets onto the skirt using a seam allowance, remember, of 0.25 of an inch. We move on to the other side and we do the same. Next, we are going to lay the front of our skirt on the table, and then we are going to take the back and lay it on top of the front like this, making sure that the correct sides of the fabric are facing each other. Make sure that the pockets are out and like so. And then we are going to hold the pockets and push them to the other side as I'm doing now, aligning them together, and then start pinning from the top. When we are sewing, we are going to come from the top. When we get to this corner, and then we sew around the pocket up to the bottom, and then from the bottom of the pocket we are going to sew down to the bottom of the skirt. Move on to the other side and lay together the front and the back as we have done for the other side, and then start pinning from the top. The two sides of the skirt have been pinned together, as you can see. Now what we are going to do is we are going to head to the machine and sew from here around the pockets to the bottom. Next, we are going to sew along the sides using a sewing allowance of 0.5 of an inch. Sew until you get past the starting point of the pocket just by about 0.5 of an inch, like that. And thereafter, you are going to lift your foot off the machine and turn the fabric over, making sure that the needle is down. Turn around the fabric and then start sewing, going towards the pocket like this. Continue going around the curves as slowly as you need to be, and when you get towards the end, make sure that you hold the seam, it is facing the pocket as it was at the top. Then we are going to sew over the seam, past it just a bit, and then make sure your needle is down, lift your footer and turn around the fabric as I am doing now, like this. This is how the seam is going to look. We're going to repeat the process even on the other side seam. This is how the seam is looking around the pocket. On the center back seam, open it up as I'm doing now, like this, and then iron it from the bottom, going up to the place where the zipper is going to start. Now, before we can insert the waistband, we are first going to measure around the waist just to make sure that the waist is indeed the size of our waist circumference. So we are going to start from the center back and measure around the waist using a tape measure that is going to be flexible and move around with a circular waist. Now, before I start attaching the waistband onto the skirt, I'm first going to measure in 0.5 inches at the top of the waistband, like this. Next, I am going to cut off the 0.5 and slant onto the end of the waistband, like that. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to make sure that after attaching the waistband onto the skirt, it's going to lean over to me and not gape at the top. Start pinning the waistband. I'm going to cut the other end once I've pinned the waistband onto the waist. Make sure that the correct side of the fabric is facing the correct side of the waistband, and then start pinning. Next, we can turn over the skirt to the outside. This is how the skirt is going to look. And then we are going to come to this other side. That the waistband is a bit longer than the skirt. We are just going to cut it using a straight line, like this. It's only now that we are going to measure that 0.5 of an inch, like this. And then we are going to trim it by slanting to the bottom of the skirt, like that. Now, the two sides of the skirt are similar. Next, let's head over to the machine and sew the waistband onto the skirt. Then we are going to sew the waistband onto the skirt using a sewing allowance of 0.5 of an inch. Remember, the waist is circular. So in order for everything to fold up nicely, we are going to snip the waist and make sure that we do not cut through the sewing line. Make these little cuts all around the waist, like this. Now you can see that the waist is flexible. It can form a straight line. Next, we take the skirt to the iron, and then we are going to fold 0.25 of an inch, like this. Make sure that we cover the sewing line, like that. And then we are going to iron this part and make sure that it is folded over, like this. And then continue folding inwards, like that. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to turn the skirt onto the outside, and we are going to insert our needle along the inside of this seam. And then we are going to sew on the inside of the seam up until we get to the other end. Now, this is the inside of the skirt. As you can see, it is nice and neat. Now, we are going to insert a zipper right here in the zipper at the back, like this, and also on the other side. The zipper has been pinned, as you can see, like this. Now we are going to sew it on the sewing machine. Next, now remember the seams on the inside are still raw. If you have an overlocker, you can take the skirt to the overlocking machine and overlock all the seams. You can also overlock the bottom of the skirt before you can then fold it over like that. Now we have overlocked all the seams and also the bottom of the skirt. What we are going to do is we are going to sew the bottom of the skirt by folding it once like this and making a small seam like that all around. Now as you can see, the bottom of the skirt has been sewn. I'm going to take it now to the ironing board and we are going to iron it. In case our success skirt it is complete, let me go and wear it just to show you guys how it looks. As you guys can see, this is my subtle skirt. This is how it turned out to be. I love how flattering it is around the waistline, and I love how flowy and full it is at the bottom. And of course, I can swing around with my hands in the pockets like this. And who doesn't love a circle skirt, ladies? Tell me. Especially us who are fully figured, it flatters our waistline and we look slim and smaller around the waist. We have come to the end of our tutorial for the day, and I would love to thank you so very much for watching the video up to this point. I do believe that you learned a lot from it, and I do trust that you will be able to make your own circle skirts. Please remember to share pictures of your attempted circle skirts in our Facebook group. I would love to see how your projects turned out to be. Then we can be able to hold each other's hands and help each other if there is a need. Also leave a comment in the comment section and tell me if you enjoyed watching the video or if you were able to make your own circle skirts. If you encountered any problems, please leave a question in the comment section. I will do my best to get back to you and give you clarity where there is a need. I would also appreciate it if you guys would leave a comment in the comment section and tell us what you want our next tutorial to be about. What is it that you want to learn how to make? Tell us and we are at your service. Those who have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so and also hit on the notifications bell just to make sure that you never miss any of our future videos. Have a good day everyone, and may the good Lord bless you all. Goodbye.